Hello again, welcome back. What the Flick? I'm Christy, that's Matt. So a really, really weird story that's been in the news recently, you may have seen, involving an actress from Smallville named Allison Mack and a female empowerment group, which is actually probably a cult called NXIVM, as Matt just asked, how do you pronounce it? Because it is spelled NXIVM, NXIVM. The hottest club you don't want to actually get into. So it is a controversial self-help group. And the guy who runs it, his name is Keith Raniere. He supposedly insisted on having his female sex slaves refer to him as Vanguard. And he would supposedly brand his initials on them, and he wanted their pubic hair styled a certain way.
But they wouldn't necessarily know. They were branded with some, like he was using like some like hot pen torch thing to like brand these women, but what they didn't know is the design had his initials in it.
Yes, it's the personal touch, it's little things that matter. So Allison Mack, who was an actress on Smallville, I never watched Smallville, did you?
I had not watched it,
okay.
No.
So I guess her character was kind of a wholesome person, which is an interesting contrast with who she is supposedly off screen and what she's been charged with, which is sex trafficking, federal charges of sex trafficking conspiracy, and forced labor conspiracy. These young women that she supposedly recruited would be forced to be this guy's sex slaves and be on call 24 hours a day and have to do forced labor and have a very restricted diet and have to, be awakened in the middle of the night at whim to do this person's bidding. And it was like a pyramid scheme situation. So people would bring in other people and the women would become slaves of their masters. And it's all creepy and weird, but yeah, she is now out on bond, $5 million. But it's some of the news that's come out in the last couple of days is who she supposedly tried to recruit to become a part of this, including Emma Watson. Now, I think Hermione would know better. And she's a smart young lady.
Well, and
right?
so all we've seen is tweets that she was reaching out. It doesn't seem that there was any evidence that Emma Watson had responded. And clearly, look, like that's a page out of the Scientology playbook, right? Like, let's get some famous, powerful people to be on our side and give us money. I mean, amongst the people that were rich and powerful that were part of this were the Bronfman sisters, who were the heirs to the Seagram's fortune. And at one point, that's the company that owned Universal Studios. Also, Grace Park seems to have been involved with them. She, who is now on Hawaii Five-0 and was on Battlestar Galactica. One of the other actresses, I can't remember the actress's name, but she played Callie on Battlestar Galactica, was also in it. NXIVM has taken down all of the content that seemed to have Grace Park featured as a speaker, but Linda Evans was on that. According to the Times-Union, they named a bunch of actresses: Linda Evans, Nikki Klein, Allison Mack, Kristen Crick, and Grace Park. So
yeah, they sell it as, in this tweet that she wrote to Emma Watson, she says, "I'm a fellow actress like yourself and involved in an amazing women's movement. I think you dig. I'd love to chat if you're open." So they presented it to potential recruits as, a thing about female empowerment and women looking out for each other, especially in this business where you could always use a friend, certainly, but it may not have been that. So that is a creepy story that we will keep following for you. But the Scientology, they will appeal to, I should rephrase that, appeal to young actors coming to LA and say, hey, come to this get together with Jenna Elfman or whoever it is to try to bring in young actors.
Right. See,
and vulnerable, malleable young people.
The Broken Lizard guys are right. Canadians are not to be trusted. This is a Canadian cult.
Canadian, there you go. Sorry, Canada.
Right?
I like you, Canada. Also, speaking of weird things happening to women, poor Dakota Johnson. So she is in Luca Guadagnino's.
Poor Dakota Johnson, nothing.
She makes interesting choices. Among them, working with Luca Guadagnino again. She was in A Bigger Splash with him, and she was so great in that. So she is the star of his Suspiria remake, which may be more of like a reboot, but she is
an homage.
Yes, if you will. And she is the young dancer who goes to the dance academy and gets enmeshed in all of the scary occult goings on there.
Right. Now, for those people who are watching that aren't the film nerds we
Yes.
are. Guadagnino directed A Bigger Splash.
And
Call
Me By Your Name, which
right,
we
sorry, that's what I
love.
meant. Like the Academy Award
Love.
nominated, and I think winning, won for screenplay, right?
No, that was James Ivory.
Oh.
But he won for that, for
Right.
Call Me By Your Name.
But the movie won.
The movie won,
right.
yes,
Anyway,
exactly.
so, and Suspiria is this legendary horror movie from Argento.
Dario Argento.
Dario Argento. It's one of the most messed up, one of the greatest horror movies of all time.
It's so
super
trippy.
moody, super trippy. So it is interesting to think Guadagnino is going to take on something like that.
Right.
And I would buy that Dakota Johnson has said, oh yeah, this movie's so messed up, it sent me to therapy.
Yeah, because the movie itself, for two reasons. First of all, the movie itself is really weird. I actually just went back and watched it for the first time for my website, for my little Christy by Request thing I do on ChristyLemire.com. And yeah, it's so of its time with the colors and just the camera angles. It's very 70s. Guadagnino, though, is known for creating a very immersive shooting experience, right? So when he made Call Me By Your Name, Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer spent time in this little Italian village and like lived with Luca, and like they all ate dinner together, and like they went there for weeks earlier and like immersed themselves in the town. And so this is his preferred style of filmmaking. So apparently that may not have been the best experience for a young woman in a trippy horror movie about ballet academy witches. So yes, and Dakota Johnson did do all 3 50 Shades movies and survive those.
That's a good point, right?
Without
So
having to go to therapy.
That's a good point.
And
Right,
and
that's where the line is. 50 Shades, like I'm fine.
you can tie me up naked and spank me, but psychological horror, that's a little more difficult. So I kind of want to go see this even more now to know what all happened.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that anything needs to get remade, but if anyone's going to, I guess, Luca has great appreciation for
Yeah, I guess so.
for that film. Having said that, though, I'm always skeptical when people say crazy things like that, how much of that's actually true and how much of it is like just the really old-fashioned business of stirring up interest in a movie, right?
Right. And this was one, now is this a Netflix? Is this a stream? Yeah, it's Amazon.
What's
right?
that?
It's Suspiria. His Suspiria remake is going to be on Amazon.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
it won't show up at Cannes.
Okay, it's not playing at Cannes.
Sorry.
It's not playing at Cannes. It was rumored to be premiering at Cannes, which is beginning in just a couple of weeks, like May 9th, I want to say. It's coming super fast. But no, it's not going to play there. Is it really only going to play on? No, it must be released theatrically as well.
Probably, but I guess it's not going to play at
too
Cannes because he's not going to go through all the hoops
see.
that Amazon and Netflix are supposed to jump through to get their movies to compete.
Yes. Anyway, so
Right.
Dakota Johnson talking about shooting Suspiria is an article in Elle magazine this month. There's a whole spread with her. We were in an abandoned hotel on top of a mountain. Had 30 telephone poles on the roof. There's electricity pulsating through the building. Everyone was shocking each other. It was cold and dry, so maybe it was sort of like a immersive kind of Kubrickian psychological,
I'm just imagining the cast walking around like shuffling their feet like.
It was fun at first. Now it's getting tiresome. Anyway, so that's our movie
I don't know. See,
news.
I'm the oldest of 4. That never got tiresome. Like you just did that all the time.
When a bit is funny, it's funny every
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
So that is it for us for news for this week. We're going to have some reviews for you tomorrow. Avengers Infinity War, perhaps you've heard of it. It's coming out. We're going to talk about it. We're going to maybe do a separate spoiler talk just to get into the really important things that happen, important game-changing things. We'll also talk about Disobedience with Rachel McAdams and Rachel Weisz, which I loved. So join us tomorrow for more fun. Bye.